Really don't like him. I think he's skeevy and gross and scammy. Maybe that's gonna be my 2025 New Year's resolution. Some of my favorite romantic quotes, they are cheesy, but my gosh, do I love them. Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be doing the Goodreads Book Tag, which is basically 12 questions regarding Goodreads and my reading habits in general on Goodreads with some other bookish questions. So I will just jump right into it. I have my computer here with the questions and with some stuff already pulled up. Number one is, what is the last book that I marked as read? That would be The Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. That is book 3 in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, the trilogy. And I enjoyed it, but I wasn't crazy about it. I rated it 3.5 stars in my mind, but then Goodreads, of course, does not allow half stars. So I had to decide if I wanted to round it up or round down, and I did end up rounding it up to 4 stars. I just don't think it deserved rounding down, but I just was not super crazy about it. I don't know, it was perhaps my least favorite book in the series, the trilogy, and people say all the time that this trilogy is better than Caraval. I unbelievably hardcore disagree with that statement. I think Caraval is 1,000 times better than this trilogy. I do think Jax as a character is very interesting and I really like him, and I had really high hopes for this trilogy, but unfortunately I wasn't super crazy about Evangeline. I really disliked Apollo in general. Yeah, it was not the best book I've read this year at all. But it was the last book that I read. And question number 2, what am I currently reading? I currently have 19 books on my Goodreads currently reading list. I will just go through them real quick and tell you if I'm actually reading them or not. I'll also put on the screen here a little screenshot of them so that you can also see. So Iron Flame, the Empyrean Saga, book number 2 by Rebecca Yarros, or is it a trilogy? I kind of feel like there's supposed to be 5 books in the series. I think it is. I'm not liking it that much. I think like 75% through with it, and I had it on Libby. I was listening to it on audiobook and then it lapsed because I took way too long to listen to it because it's almost 30 hours long, the audiobook, and I just wasn't enjoying it. So I don't know. I'm kind of reading it. I'd like to finish it. I don't know if I'm going to continue with the series, especially not if it's 5 books long. Then The 4-Hour Workweek by Timothy Ferris. I don't like Tim Ferris as a person at all. I think this book really makes him out to be like a hardcore villain, and I just really don't like him. I think he's skeevy and gross and scammy. And so I'm not sure if I'm going to finish that book. I'm like 50% of the way through. It also lapsed on Libby a long time ago. And I think there's nobody waiting in line. I think I could borrow it right now, but I just don't want to at this point in time. I think there were a lot of good tips in the book, but I just don't like Tim Ferris. And then Arcadia Erwacht, or Arcadia Awakens by Kai Meyer. That's in German. I only read the first chapter. And that was actually my TBR poll from August, maybe? I can't really remember. But I'm not super crazy about it. I will read it one day, I think, but we'll see. The Poppy War, that's Poppy War book number 1 by R.F. Kuang. I don't know how I feel about this book. I think I'm like 40% of the way through, maybe 50%, and my hold at the library lapsed. You will see that that is basically what has happened for all of these, and that's why they're still stuck in here, even though maybe it's been a really long time since I started reading it, which is the case with The Poppy War. I started reading it much earlier this year, like I want to say maybe May, maybe April even. And I wasn't super crazy about it. I think it was really good, but I think it's very harsh, and I'm not the type of person who requires romance in every book, but I feel like this book, I would like some romance. Like I would like it to be a little bit softer, at least in one aspect. I don't know, it's kind of a heavy book and it's a lot to take in, and I just wasn't in the right headspace. I didn't feel like reading it. I wanted to read more fun stuff at that point in time, so then my hold lapsed, and I would like to get it again, but there are so many people waiting in line. I've literally been waiting 5 months now, I think, for it, so who knows? Hopefully I'm gonna get it soon. I think last time I checked, it was roughly 4 weeks, so fingers crossed I get it soon and then I can take that off of this list and be done with it. Then I have The Adventures of Amina al-Sirafi by Shannon Chakraborty, and that's book 1 of the series. And I started listening to this on Spotify, and Spotify only lets you listen to 15 total hours, I think, before you have to wait until your time period is done, like in a single month. So it's like a 30-day time period. And it's just a vicious cycle. And this book is stuck in that cycle. I keep listening to it a little bit and then I can't listen to it anymore. And I had another book I was listening to on Spotify. That one is officially done now, so I can focus on this one. We'll see. Hopefully I get that one finished also soon. Then More Than a Carpenter by Josh McDowell. I kind of just read this when I'm doing Bible studies. It's a theological book, and so I'm not super actively reading this with the goal of finishing it anytime soon. It's kind of just I pick it up when I feel like I want to read it. Then there's Pachinko by Min Jin Lee, and this is another one that lapsed at the library. I found it good, but it just wasn't super intriguing to me personally. It's not really my style, but I've just heard so many people raving about it, about how amazing it is, so I thought I would give it a go. And yeah, like I said, I enjoy it, but it's not really my style book. So it took me a really long time to get through. I think I'm like 60% of the way through, and then my hold lapsed. So now I've been waiting in line for months because this is another one that is super, super, super well loved and super requested at the library, and I've just been waiting for forever. Then The Gunslinger, which is Dark Tower Book 1 by Stephen King. I only started reading that a little bit ago, and I'm kind of just reading it off and on. It's not my priority because it's less intriguing than I thought it would be, and it's kind of very heavy. And as I already mentioned, I'm not super big into super heavy books in general, so we'll see when I finish that. And then there's A Través de mi ventana, the Hidalgo's trilogy, book number 1 by Ariana Godoy. I don't know how to pronounce that in Spanish, but this is Through My Window, which is a movie that I saw on Netflix. It's a Spanish movie, and I thought the movie was so cheesy and shockingly inappropriate. I don't know what I was expecting, but also kind of good, like good in a really guilty pleasure, cheesy, I hate it, but I love to hate it kind of way. And so then I was like, I'm learning Spanish, maybe I should read the book. And I can't remember how far I am through that, but because it's Spanish, I really have to be in the right mental space to read it because it's not that easy. My Spanish is not that high of a level. So that's another one. We'll see when I finish it. And then this other one is in Spanish, Harry Potter y la Piedra Filosofal, which is Harry Potter book 1. It's the Philosopher's Stone. I'm like 50-60% of the way through with that. And I read like a chapter every month maybe, so it's taken me a while to slug through it, but I am slugging through it, and really that's all that matters for me. I just want to finish it by the end of the year, and I think that I will. I own it, so I can take my sweet time with that one. And then The Case for Christ by Lee Strobel, kind of the same. This is a theological book, Christian, and I kind of just read it when I'm reading my Bible, when I want more Bible study, so taking my sweet time with that. I own that one also. Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. I started reading this on my library. It lapsed as per usual because it's also not really my style. I found it really interesting actually, and I would like to finish it, but it just wasn't so interesting that I was devouring it, and I was kind of just taking my time with it. But you only have 14 days at the library, at least at my library. And there were so many people waiting in line behind me that I couldn't borrow it again. So I've just been waiting months, like all the other books, to get it. So it is in my holds list. Hopefully I'll be getting it soon. I've got no idea what is left right now. It could be a month, it could be 3 months, it could be a week, I don't know. And then Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. I'm currently listening to that actively right now on audiobook on Libby. I think I've got 9 days left, and I think I'm roughly 20% of the way through. So that one I genuinely really am actively reading. Then there's Babel by R.F Kuang. Same thing as always. I was reading it, I really enjoyed it, but it's really heavy and it's a lot to take in, so I needed more time, and then my hold lapsed, and now I'm just waiting in line behind what feels like a million people to get it again at my library. And then this is another book in Spanish that I also own, so I'm taking my sweet time with it. El Valle de los Lobos, Crónicas de la Torre, book 1 by Laura Gallego. And this book is good. It is my level. It's like middle grade, I want to say. To me, it almost feels like the Spanish version of Harry Potter. The plot is not like Harry Potter, but it feels to me like it's a version of that. Like it's got magic in it and it's a younger girl and there's this boy who's invisible and then there's this wizard, and it just feels like that kind of magical middle grade kind of vibe. So we'll see when I finish with that. Then Legendborn, the Legendborn Cycle Book 1 by Tracy Dion. This I am actively reading and I'm really enjoying it. I'm maybe 30% of the way through, but I'm 30% of the way through and it still says I have 10 hours left, which is crazy. Like, I thought that this book was only 500 pages and I thought it wouldn't be that hard. And I'm not really sure why it's taken me so long, but 10 hours to finish 70% of a book is wild. It's a long book, so we'll see when I can finish it. Then Ship of Magic Live Ship Traders #1 by Robin Hobb. I'm almost finished with that, but I just got sidetracked and I don't know why I stopped. I own it and it's in my bookshelf directly behind me. I forgot about it, honestly, until this exact moment. And then Blutschwur. This is Vampire Academy #4. It's Blood Promise and it's by Rochelle Mead. And I just started rereading the series at the beginning of this year. But again, I kind of just got sidetracked and forgot about it until this exact moment that I'm seeing this. And then another book that I forgot about, Everyday #1 by David Leviathan. I honestly don't even remember starting this book. I kind of remember what it's about, but I don't even think I started it this year. I think I started this maybe 2 or 3 years ago, honestly. And I think I kind of just forgot about it. So I don't know, maybe that's going to be my 2025 New Year's resolution, to keep my currently reading list on Goodreads down to like 5 books maximum instead of almost 20, because this is kind of bad. And I had no idea some of these were on the list. So yeah, I have to stay more on top of this. Next up, question number 3 is, what was the last book that I marked as TBR, to be read? And that would actually be the more or less definitive guide to self-care from A to Z from Anna Borges, I think is how you pronounce her name. And that I put on my list 4 days ago. And I actually only put it on my list because I'm friends on Goodreads with my aunt and she marked this book as read and she gave it 5 stars. She said it was really amazing. And so then I was kind of intrigued. And then later on, I saw that she liked a review for it, and the review was hilarious, and it was from the author herself. And Anna said, I'm marking this as read, so it counts towards my Goodreads challenge, and no one can stop me. # self-care. And I just thought that was so funny, and I feel like if the author, I don't know, gives off that vibe, just like in the review and the comments, then it's probably a good book. And the other reviews for the book seem quite good, most of them at least, but it's not really my style type of book, and it's not like I put it on my list because I really want to read it so bad. It's just I thought it was funny, and I thought maybe if I have a day where I'm not really reading anything and I just want to read something simple, a nonfiction book, then maybe I could give this one a go. But the last actual book I put on my list that I really do want to read is Spectacular by Stephanie Garber, which is Caraval book 3.5. It takes place after the end of the 3rd book, and it's basically like a Winter Wonderland kind of version of Caraval, and I actually hate books like that. Like when they specifically put a book or a movie or a TV show or something in like a snowy setting, and then it's like the Winter Wonderland version of it. I don't know why, I just don't like it. So I don't know how I'm gonna feel about Spectacular, but I really want more of Legend. I want more of Scarlet. I want more of Julian. I want more of Donatella. I just want more. And so I think that I will like it, even though it's set in winter. I don't know. We'll see. It's not like I have anything against winter in general. It's more just like when people go so hard on the Winter Wonderland kind of theme. I can't put my finger on it, but hopefully I'll like it. And I put that on my list on September 12th, which as of today was 6 days ago. Today is September 18th. And I have 835 books right now on my TBR, so I don't know how I'm ever gonna finish this in my entire life. because this would take me like 10 years to get through all of these books. And in those 10 years, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm gonna put another 800 books on my TBR. So it's never ending. It stresses me out when I think about it. So let's move on to question number 4. That is, what book do I plan to read next? And I don't really have an answer for that because I don't really plan to read books necessarily. I kind of just pick a book based on how I'm feeling and what's available at my library, and I don't know what I have time for. Like if I know I'm gonna be busy, I'm not gonna pick a long book. Even if I do really, really want to read it, I'm generally gonna pick a shorter book, a quicker, easy read, so that I can feel good and like actually finish something and not feel like I'm stressed trying to finish something and that it's dragging on and taking forever. So I don't know what I plan to read next. I just want to finish the books that I have right now, because as you saw, I have so many books on my currently reading list on Goodreads. I just need to finish those first and foremost. Number 5, do you use the star rating system? I don't know what they mean by the star rating system. As far as I'm aware, Goodreads doesn't have like their own personal star rating system or anything. But if they just mean in general, do I rate books? Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely rate every single book that I read. I use generally though the Q pile rating, which if you've watched any of my past videos, especially the monthly recaps, then you know exactly what I'm talking about because you've heard it 1,000 times. I will just put it on the screen so you can see. Each letter of the word Q pile stands for something else, and then you rate it based on that individual letter. And the person who created this, the book roast, I will link her video below where she talks about that and explains it, and then where she also links a free spreadsheet. Because on the spreadsheet, you can input the ratings that you have for this, and it automatically calculates that. It's a 1 through 10 rating system. It averages it out, and then it calculates that in a 5-star rating system and tells you what you should rate it as based on that. And sometimes I listen to it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'll go lower or I'll go higher if I just have that gut feeling. So I would say it's 50% Q pile rating and 50% just my gut feeling and what my stomach and my heart are telling me about the book. And that's the rating system that I use. But I absolutely rate every single book that I read. Number 6, are you doing a reading challenge this year? I am. I have done one every single year since 2020, which I think I only got a Goodreads account in 2020. And in 2020, I said I would read 50 books. That was my reading goal, and I only read 16. And then in 2021, I said I would read 21 books. I thought, okay, fine, 50 is too much. Let me go down. And I only read 16 again, second year in a row. 2022, I said, okay, fine, 2 books per month, that's doable, 24 books total, I can do it. I only read 13. And then in 2023, I got my Kindle in, I believe, January or February of 2023. And I had a goal again of 24 books per year, and I achieved my goal. I read 43 books out of 24. So I got 179% on that reading goal, and it was completed. I know you're not like getting them, like that makes it sound like it's a school assignment and you're like, I got 180%, I did extra credit. But honestly, that's kind of what it feels like to me. Like, I just love completing it, and then getting more than 100% makes me feel so good and so motivated. And so this year, I thought, okay, fine, I read 43 last year. Let me try to push myself, especially since I have my Kindle now and it's so easy to read. I'm going to try to do 50, almost 1 book per week, because there are 52 weeks in a year. And I have read this year, I've already accomplished that. I've read 86 books out of 50. But I will say from those 86, probably, gosh, maybe 15 or 20 are manga volumes. So I personally don't really count them as books. I would say I would kind of group them together. And if I've read 20 manga volumes, then I would maybe count that as 5 books total. I wouldn't count it as 20 individual books, but Goodreads doesn't let you edit any of that or change the information. So unfortunately, it just says 86. In my mind though, I feel like really what I've actually read is perhaps more like 75, which still has achieved my goal. And it's still more than I've ever read as far as I've been tracking on Goodreads. So I'm quite happy with it, but I just feel like 86 is a little bit of an exaggeration. Number 7 and number 8, I'm just going to answer together. Number 7 is, do you have a book wish list? And number 8 is, what book do you plan to buy next? And I don't have a wish list, like a physical wish list anywhere. I don't have a list on Goodreads or anything like that. I kind of just keep in my mind books that I want to buy. And as of right now, the 2 books that I really so desperately want to buy ASAP would be The Faceless Mage and The Unseen Heir, which is book 1 and book 2 of the Legends of Abrea series from Ken Lee Davidson. And I read those 2 books this year for the first time a couple of months ago, and I'm so obsessed with them. I love them so much. Ken Lee Davidson is quickly becoming my all-time favorite author. I think she's so amazing. She's such an incredible, intelligent author, and I love everything she writes. And so I want to read those 2 books again really bad. And I want to read the entire series. So ideally, I'd really like to get like a boxed set of the entire Legends of Abrea series. I think there's 6 books total. But I don't know, that's quite expensive, and also it's really hard to find in Germany because she's not a super well-known popular author. So yeah, I'm gonna have to fork out a lot of money if I want to get a box set like that, and I don't know if I want it that bad. I don't know, we'll see. Number 9, do you have any favorite quotes? Would you like to share a few? It says a few, but I'm gonna share a ton, and I'm just gonna put them on the screen real quick, starting now, so that you can pause and read them at your own pace if you're interested in reading them at all. The first screenshot that I'll put on the screen is basically a collection from the Folk of the Air trilogy. I love that trilogy so much, from Holly Black. It's one of my all-time favorites, and I just feel like there's so many good quotes and funny quotes and sweet quotes and some of my favorite romantic quotes. They are cheesy, but my gosh, do I love them. And then the other screenshot, I will put some quotes from Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I love that duology also so much. Again, one of my all-time favorites, and I feel like those quotes also are really good. And then I will put a screenshot of a combination of books. It's Howl's Moving Castle from Diana Wynne Jones. So many good quotes in that book also. I love it so much. And then a couple from Nettle and Bone from T. Kingfisher. Again, one of my favorite authors, such a good book. I am so obsessed with that book, one of my all-time favorites. And then another one of my all-time favorites that I already mentioned, The Faceless Mage from Ken Lee Davidson. Just one quote from that, but I just love it. I think it's a really good quote. So yeah, those are all of the quotes. You can pause, like I said, if you wanted to read them. Moving on, number 10, who are your favorite authors? Surprise, surprise, Ken Lee Davidson, T. Kingfisher, already mentioned. I've not read more books from Holly Black, but from what I have read, the Folk of the Air trilogy, I would say Holly Black, because I just love that trilogy so much. But like I said, I've not read anything else from her. In addition, Robin Hobb, Andrzej Sapkowski, love him. He wrote the Witcher series, so good. Robin Hobb writes really good fantasy books, like older ones from 1990s, early 2000s. I think some from the 1980s. And I just feel like she's a great author. Everyone that I just listed is amazing. I would have to say, if I had to pick, like absolutely had to pick on my life, then I would say Ken Lee Davidson as of this point in time right now. And then number 11, have you joined any groups? No, I have not. I didn't even know that that was a thing. I don't know. If anyone knows of any fun groups to join, let me know in the comments below, but no, I've not joined any groups or anything. And then number 12, are there any questions you would like to add? No, I think I answered more than enough. I think I rambled on plenty for now. So if there's anything you would like to ask about my Goodreads account or whatnot, then just let me know in the comments below. I'm happy to answer any questions anytime. But I think I will just end it here for now. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you all have an amazing day. And also, you can add me on Goodreads if you want. It's in my description. It's also on my About Me on my YouTube channel here. Please feel free to add me. We can be friends. We can track each other's reading. You can hold me accountable for finishing those 19 books that I'm currently reading according to Goodreads. Please hold me accountable. I really need to finish those this year. If I can't finish anything, I genuinely think it will be my 2025 resolution. Like, resolution number 1, to finally, once and for all, just finish them, because my gosh, it's borderline embarrassing, like, how long some of those books have been on there, and how often I just forget about books, and how often I let the holds lapse, and yada, yada, yada. So please add me on Goodreads, hold me accountable, let's be friends. And I hope that you have an amazing day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.